We are back for episode number 2, Cal, at Vintage Grace Boutique in Washington. And with us for this show is the owner, proprietor, and basically queen of the... this is like your domain. This is you.
It's like the
Everything
badass.
is you. Yeah, absolutely. Becca Carl, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to join you guys. Really.
Well, thank you so much for hosting us here. Listen, the shop is really super cool.
Thank
I mean,
you.
I had seen it, on Facebook, and so but this is the first time I've actually been here, and it exceeds expectations. It's really, really cool.
Wait, I didn't know this is the first time you've been
Yeah,
here.
It's the first time I've actually been to the shop. Believe me,
I'm
Carol.
going to take note of that.
Carol has mentioned that to me on several occasions. And Carole DeAngelo, your better half, who we will mention, I'm sure, numerous times during the show, but she is one of my special people. So that's...
She's one of mine too, believe it or not.
Well, yeah. Considering, she saved your life. With the whole,
boy, we're jumping
bleeding
right in.
incident. Yeah, no. She told me that. Just thank God she was there, because she just took care of you when you were. You were hanging by a thread apparently. And she pulled you back. She brought you back.
Yeah, don't shave when you have protruding varicose veins. That's my tip of the day.
There's your action item, Nick. Don't shave your legs. Well, when you first said that, it was interesting to me because I don't shave my legs. But how you can get rushed to the emergency room from shaving your legs that's impressive. I mean,
Yes.
thank God you're okay.
Yes.
But that is impressive.
Well, listen, we were explaining to her that, Vitalent is really low on blood donors. She's a giver.
There you go.
I just do what I can for the community.
That's just who you are. It's how you're built.
Yes.
Wow. So we have, there's so many things that we can talk about, but I'm going to talk about one thing first because it's Friday, and Friday's a big deal if you're a military family. Remember everyone deployed, red. We should all have our red shirts on. I tried to buy a couple for us over there, but Nick said that wouldn't look good because we film mostly on Fridays and we would all have red shirts on every single show. But okay, so anyway, you served. Thank you for your service. You were Army?
I was Army right out of high school. It really came from the fact I've always had a strong desire to serve, honestly. My dad was in the Navy. I was actually bullied in high school pretty severely. And when I was making decisions for my life, it just really always felt like it was kind of there inside of me. So it was an amazing experience to have 500 women come together, and we were the first female company at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Are you serious?
We were, and
the posting, my son's posting before where he's at right now. He was 3 years at Fort Leonard Wood. Fort Lost in the Woods.
Fort Lost in the Woods, and you haven't lived until you have bivouacked. And for everybody that doesn't know what that means, you live out in the country and in the countryside with your tents for 2 weeks, and it was snowing in the mountains in the Ozarks.
Yeah.
So that was a fun time.
It literally is the center of nowhere.
It is.
I mean,
It's beautiful
totally.
though. Beautiful
it's
country.
Beautiful country. If you like that, the mountains, the Ozarks, and everything, it is a beautiful place. But it is the Ozarks in every sense of that word.
Yeah.
But thank you. That's interesting. I didn't know that. But yeah, Dylan was there for 3 years. He and his family. They lived in Waynesville. That's the only posting that they've lived off base.
Okay.
Because Leonard Wood was really kind of like, yeah. We won't disparage our United States Army. But so that was really cool. So how long were you in?
So it was 2 years, and then I was in the reserves. So it was an interesting time. Just that's
Vietnam,
when
you had mentioned. Did you see any action over in Nam? You said that. I'm messing with you. I'm sorry.
No, I actually lived in San Antonio for a little bit,
Okay.
and yes, I studied parasitology, microbiology. So I was in the healthcare
Nice.
portion.
Okay.
It was interesting. I love to learn. So
Yeah.
it was just such a great. That was my first actual experience with what it really meant to have a team around you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, are you from here? Are you local?
I am. I'm actually from Avella, which is
Okay.
like 20 minutes
Sure.
west
Know
of
it well.
here.
Yep.
So
No, well.
little countryside, beautiful.
It is. This is a great part of the world too. Southwestern Pennsylvania is dramatically underrated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I am from there, and I've basically stayed in my community throughout my whole career. So starting in the beauty industry after the Army, which is that's actually a really great juxtaposition. That just defines me. I'm
Right.
soft and I can be hard at the same time. And that is totally me.
Yeah,
If you
that's
know
for
me
sure.
at all.
I love that about you, though.
Yeah.
I could have a tool belt on one minute, or I could be putting makeup on someone the next minute. You just don't know.
But that's
You're
awesome.
very
That is
versatile.
awesome. And also, how did you get from healthcare in the Army
Mm-hmm.
to a career in beauty and
It's a great question. So funny enough, and I'll circle back to that really quick, but funny enough, there are a lot of people in the beauty industry who also had careers in healthcare and vice versa. There's something about that personality, that nurturing, that I think that you need to be. But what happened for me, I came back home and a friend needed some help at a makeup. It was kind of a big on stage. There were some national artists coming, and she's like, "We just really need an extra set of hands. Like, I know that you like to dabble in that." Well, it was the team that did makeup for Cindy Crawford in the 90s for Revlon.
Okay.
So I trained with the pro team for Revlon.
Now, did you
and-
have training before that, or
No.
that was your training?
No, I mean, I always, you can ask my mom and dad. I spent hours in the bathroom. What better training is that? No, but I mean, my mom actually is an amazing makeup artist in her own right, and also very creative. But they trained me, and it just was one of those. It just came like that, and there's really no better camaraderie than the group in the beauty industry. I was hooked, for sure. So,
Okay. So have you ever had your own salon?
I have not had my own salon. I did work with a really great friend of ours who has a very successful salon in the area. It was a great experience. So between, salon and makeup, it's a really another great way to help transform people. And for me, it's not about, we're going to put this on, or we're going to help pick out a new hairstyle. It was never about that. For me, it is bringing out what's inside and helping somebody maybe gain some confidence. So for me, it's just that inspiration part of it. So
It's very cool. It's very cool.
I can't imagine having your background and doing makeup all the time like that. I mean, it's got to be hours.
I mean, at that time, when I very first started, I did makeup on stages for 9 hours a day.
Oh.
And we would go to, different events, and it was a long day. We always said at the end, our feet felt like raw hamburger. I mean, beauty knows no pain. We'll just tough it out. But there is just something, like I said, the camaraderie between the artist and then, of course, our customers, just helping them kind of tap into their inner beauty, because that's what it's really all about. Like, you'd have conversations with these people, and you would hear sometimes it was funny, sometimes it could be lighthearted, and then other times, some of them are telling you some deep
Right.
things, and opening up to you, and they're trusting.
There's a lot of trust there. I was just going to. That's exactly the word I was thinking about. There's a lot of trust there.
Yeah, they're trusting us, and it can be as much as it can be rewarding. It can sometimes also it's eye opening, because you can really see when there's a woman that maybe she's had some like physical abuse. They react a little bit differently when you're about to touch them, and so you really it's not just makeup. I mean, I always say, it's like retail and that the cosmetic industry, the beauty industry in general. I mean, we're psychologists, we serve, we're just a little bit of everything, which also defines me. I'm a little bit of like a jack of all trades. So that's what kind of brought me. I spent a lot of years with Ulta Beauty and some great training. I was a general manager for years, and it was one of those situations I felt I had outgrown what I was doing, and I wanted to do more. I've always done things like I've done makeup with Night to Shine. If you know about the Tim Tebow Foundation, the special needs prom. I, at that time, was
That's cool.
volunteering for Dress for Success. I now serve on the board of directors.
Okay.
Funny how things come full circle. But it's just I felt the need to do more, and I just wanted to be more involved with my community. And Carole and I had looked at businesses 3 other times to purchase. One was a salon. 2 were boutiques in the area. And when this happened, actually a year ago, we're coming up on our 1-year anniversary of owning the boutique. It was honestly not planned. I was getting ready to go visit my sister and her family. They live in England on the southern coast. Carole called and said that the owners, who we were friends with, they were selling. They were going to be moving. And what did I think? And I said, I think we're buying a boutique. So it just felt right immediately. It just did. And it's like one of those things. And I think I was mentioning to you earlier, I was reading Untamed by Glennon Doyle, and there's a portion in that book where she talks about getting to a quiet place, and maybe you meditate once a day. I really believe in self-care, and so it's called like a knowing, and just I just knew. I knew it was the time to pounce on it and make something bigger happen. So just like it wasn't makeup, it's not all about clothes for me.
This is a great space, and you can see that it's you. Your fingerprints are all over it. I mean, you've curated this space, and it's not just clothes. It's not about, because when I came in here, my eyes went to 1,000 different things, but the whole time I'm thinking, I need to bring Terry here because there's some really cool stuff that she would really like. But the whole experience of this space is really very cool.
Well, before you bring Terry here, you need to go see Jen and get that line of credit that she was talking about.
Yes, we do need to do that.
Our friends over at Brentwood Bank, right?
Our friends over at Brentwood Bank, and no, that was. It's just an amazing space, and I love, just stepping back one moment. I love what you said about the Tim Tebow Foundation and everything, and how making people feel good, because being a beautician, being in the beauty industry, I'll even date myself even more, a hairdresser, right? That, for as long as I can remember, was one of those careers like, oh yeah, she's a beauty, she does hair. It was kind of minimized.
Right.
You know what I mean? But what better way? If I've seen video, not in person, but I've seen videos on the internet of women who've gone through chemotherapy, battled some sort of a cancer, whether it's breast cancer or something, and just coming back and getting a makeover, right?
I've done that many times.
I mean, and just the sheer, it's powerful. I mean, it literally will get you. If it doesn't, you don't have a heart. But it's so important.
First of all, I am all about inclusivity. Whether it doesn't matter. A lot of people, may take that like, oh, you're size inclusive. Well, of course I am, but I'm inclusive of every single aspect of being a human.
Right.
And
as we all should be.
Right. So it can be very transformative, especially, it's not just about, oh, put this makeup on, you'll love it. But if you can just help somebody's confidence, just a little bit.
Right.
And there was a woman, I can't think of her name now, but she was kind of a like a speaker. She would go and do like presentations, and she had this funny thing she did. She's like, I leave my house every single morning and I stop in front of the mirror and I'm like, hey girl, you're looking good. And that's how I want everyone to feel.
Absolutely. You know, we live in such a superficial society, right? Where we're all judged on appearance. Like it or not, it doesn't matter who you are, whatever your profession is, you are immediately judged on your appearance before they even get to your heart or your knowledge or experience or anything like that. So being able to give women and men that confidence boost is so important.
Oh, yeah. People have an opinion about you before you ever open your mouth.
Right.
I mean, that's just being human, though.
That's it is.
I mean, you can't fault people for that. That's just the first
That's
thing
who
they
we've
see.
become. This is where we've evolved to. You know what I mean? Where how you look and how you show up and present yourself is so critically important, particularly in business. You know, we're focused on business with this show, and it's important to us and how we tie everything together. And I want to talk about the business side of this. But when you look at going into a meeting, right? You know, we do business meetings all the time. When you walk into that meeting, okay, that meeting, the outcome can be decided in that first instant when they see you. It can literally decide the outcome of that meeting.
Well, and you know, the flip side of that, so, and I'm sure we'll touch on it later, but I was speaking to you earlier that our website says we're closed on Sundays, but we do events a lot of times on Sundays. And one of them that we did, and this really showcases, you know, the power of a transformation. We did a headshot class, and it was, you would come in, makeup by me, a hair touch up if somebody really needed it, and my boutique manager Katrina would fit them, suit them in something from the boutique, get them comfortable, and really help them out as far as what works for your body, what works for your shape, and then we would do headshots. And a woman had signed up that came to one of my makeup master classes about 2 months prior to that, and when she came to my makeup master class, she mentioned who referred her to come to it. She sat there very quietly, very, very, like, just timid as a mouse, but taking all the notes, and so sweet. By the end of it, you know, we were all hugging, and that's what kind of happens here at the boutique on Sundays. It's usually a really touching experience.
So if I need a hug, I can come here on Sunday?
Hugs are free.
Excellent. Excellent.
Hugs are free. So she signs up for this class, and, you know, we get her all ready, and she was a little bit in tears. She was so happy with everything. And she later came and told me that I have been life-changing to her. And I was so humbled by that because, I mean, believe me, it's what I wanted. But she said her whole family just really has taken notice of her ability to just, she's confident, she's present for life.
Wow.
She
That's
smiles
powerful. That is so powerful.
every day. Her husband's like, you are in such a good mood all the time. And so it can just be, it's just so much more than makeup or clothes, honestly.
You know, when you say headshots, same thing. You know, Dominique and I do headshots. We've been doing them for years.
Yes.
And it's one of my favorite days. I mean, he comes all the time. Half time he's not even getting his photo taken. He just wants to come and be around us and around the energy.
The energy in that room is just so cool, and people feel so good.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them come in, and I get all these messages beforehand. I'm not comfortable in front of the camera. I'm not sure about this. And you know, we have wine, but you're right. They come in and they're, I don't want to do this. I'm not sure. And by the time we're done talking them up and explaining things and just kind of just pumping
Isn't
them
it
up.
so fun to be a hype girl?
Oh, I love it. I do.
I love it.
I love being a hype. And that's exactly what Dom calls me. She's the hype girl. And I'm standing behind Dominique. But when they leave, it's a Friday. Their shoulders are back. Their hair and makeup's done. We give them bling. You know, we put jewelry on them. And I always tell them, I'm like, hey, it's a Friday night. Get your girlfriends, get your boyfriend, get your husband, get whoever it is that you're hanging with, and go out. You know, you're ready. And they do. They're happy, and but they come back. So we can't get rid of him. I mean, he comes all the time.
It's the hug thing.
I was gonna say he's gonna show up for that free hug.
Yes, always.
But everybody from his office comes, and we've gotten to know them. But it really isn't. You know, we have our little green room that's there. But you know, giving back to people like that is priceless.
It is.
Even professionally. You know, when I brought our team from GPI, my day job. And because when we do proposals and things, a lot of times, especially if it's a new potential client, we like to put a photograph in there. So we looked at a proposal and like, it was just, somebody was in a golf shirt outside, somebody else was in a suit sitting in, and they were just all over the place. And it just didn't look good. And I said, if I'm the client and I see that, that's going to make me think a certain way, right? So I suggested to Diane, who runs the Pittsburgh office, she's the executive VP there. So why don't we go and get everybody uniform, get everybody a headshot, right? So, female engineers don't always worry about looking a certain way, right? So when our young ladies went down, and we wound up with 2 sessions, probably about 8 of us, okay? So everything looked the same. We weren't dressed the same. It wasn't like a uniform thing, but the poses, the facial expressions, everything was the same. And when we just finished a major proposal and we put those photographs in there, just that little thing made a world of difference in a professional space. Right. So it's such a valuable tool.
I totally agree. I think it just makes you, it's kind of like the old adage about the first thing you should do is make your bed for the day.
Yes.
Because it gets you ready for the day. And so, in that professional setting, like, we need to get ourselves ready for the day. And, it just gives you that little oomph to get it going.
Yeah.
So you need to get your headshot done then, right?
We'll do this.
You got me there.
Only the left side. We'll do this side right here. I think that's
side. That's my side.
That's a good side.
But they always say the shoemaker's kids has no shoes.
Right.
So we're gonna pump you up and get your headshot done.
I love it. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
And listen, what's the name of the place across the street where Dawn gets those concoctions that she got me that one day?
Oh, I don't know.
My goodness.
Concoction.
Yeah, you have to ask.
I love a good concoction.
You ask. And say, listen, and I'll even go and get you the concoction. I don't know what it's called.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
But yeah, they.
I'll trade free hugs for concoctions. This sounds bad.
That's a deal.
But anyway,
and let's talk for a second. I was really pumped up because I was told Carole was coming, and Carole happens to be like a world-class hugger. Carole's been hugging me for a long time, and
the pandemic really hurt her.
Absolutely, because she is.
She would randomly just come up and attack us in the house. We're still not okay from it. Check on us. Okay.
Yeah, she's on. There's no doubt about it. But I want to get into Carole a little bit. How did you guys meet?
So we met just over 23 years ago. A mutual friend, Michael Pasalacqua, that owns Angelo's.
Sure.
I had known him from being, from this area, and Carole met him at the time through work, and he just thought he told both of us, I just have somebody that you have to meet, whether you're just friends, whatever. I just think you guys really would like each other, and he was not wrong. However, we almost didn't meet because she stood me up for our first blind date.
No way.
She did. We were supposed to meet for lunch, and she chickened out. She's a big chicken.
Wow. She's a chicken. Yes.
Secret's out.
She's a big chicken.
But I didn't let her off the hook. I went back to work and waited like an hour. I called her office. I said, "What are you doing tomorrow?" At about 2, maybe 3. And I got her. She's like, I guess I don't have anything. I'm like, great. We're going to meet for coffee. So we met for coffee and talked for at least 2 hours. And it was just magic, really.
That is so cool. You guys are so...
I did not know that. I didn't ever heard that story before.
You're just so special together. I mean, it just... Even just looking at, if you don't know you, looking at a photograph of you on social media, that stuff just jumps out. I mean, you guys are so special together. And I met Christian, your son, okay, at our friend, the little guy's shop. And I didn't know Christian. I didn't even know the connection to Carole because I hadn't met you at that point. I knew Carole for a long time. And Mark and I were talking. I went there for a specific reason. And so we're talking. and just, we got sidetracked and we're going off in 10 different directions. And I said, well, listen, I have to go. I got to get this stuff done. And Christian came over, and he had gone and done everything that we needed while Mark and I were sitting there.
That's Christian.
But he's such a just humble, gentle soul. I mean, he's just
He is.
a wonderful young man.
I always said when he was 4, it's like he was a 40-year-old trapped in a 4-year-old body.
Yeah.
He's an old soul. He just from a really young age, he's funny. And I remember, he would be so little and he'd be saying things like, somebody would, he always came to work with either one of us. And if he came with me, again, beauty industry, somebody would say, oh, I really like that shade of pink. And he'd be like, actually, it's mauve. And he would have, prices worked out for things. I mean, just, he really is a great kid.
You guys have done a remarkable job raising that young man. I mean, he like I said, he's just a special guy. And so, I just want to congratulate you because he's that good of a kid. I mean, he really is. And
I hear it time and again, and
that's make you feel
I don't
good.
take it for granted. He's amazing.
Yeah, in today's world, I mean, that's saying something for a young man his age. It's not easy. It's not an easy thing to be.
Right.
So, do you know about Soph Dog?
I've never actually met her.
Listen, I don't even know how to describe Soph. I really don't. Now, she was Carole's mom, your mother-in-law, and you guys had a special relationship, didn't you?
We really did. And, you figure Carole and I have been together many years, and Carole had asked her, she still lived in the home that she raised her children in Weirton, and she was there by herself. And, she was getting up there in age, and Carole and I were having to go there every weekend and help her. And she'd be like, Mom, I think it's time. Maybe you think about moving in with us. No. She's a very independent woman.
Yeah.
Very independent. And so finally I asked her, and she agreed pretty much immediately. She was my buddy for sure. She would, I'd be maybe cutting her hair or something at home, and it'd be her and I. And I seriously felt like I was in a movie, like, Barbershop, because we'd be sitting there gossiping and carrying on either wine or coffee or both. And she'd say, if there was like a situation going on in the family, she'd be, honey, tell me the truth, because I know they lie to me because they think I'm old and I can't handle it. You'll tell me everything. I told her everything. So we did. We had a really special relationship.
And she just had that special personality, and I mentioned to you, having somebody with that kind of life experience and at that age to have that kind of a personality to share those experiences.
Yeah, I mean, she, and I'm sure you've heard from Carole, but, she didn't have beyond a 10th grade education, but honestly, you really wouldn't know. I mean, her life experience and just her internal compass, her internal wisdom, some of her phrases. In fact, I'm tinkering around the idea of doing T-shirts with some of her phrases because they're so good.
I think that's a tremendous idea. I do.
Some of them would be zingers. Some of them were just, thoughtful. She was always very thoughtful, and talk about somebody that just wanted to serve her neighbors and love her family. That is the epitome of Soph Dog.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And I thought it was very funny that you guys called her Soph Dog, which I thought was just hysterical. But
she went with it too.
She loved it. Yeah. Yeah. She just
oh, you guys are crazy, she told me.
I mean, Carole's posts that she puts out on social media are always talking about her. So it's almost like she's still here. I know that it's, hard for Carole still, but it's almost like you feel like you know who she is, even though I've never met her.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's
very cool. So how much of Carole, for example, is in this shop we're in right now?
So that is, if you ask her, she'd say, that's all Becca. And, as far as curating, that's me. Where Carole comes in, definitely her marketing brain. I mean, she's
good at that. That's her thing.
She is a guru. And
I mean, just for reference, Carole managed shopping malls.
She
did. She knows this. She knows her stuff. This is not just a.
Yeah, she. So whether it's marketing, advertising, those kind of avenues, honestly, sometimes she'll come in at the end of a week, and we're always changing things. We get things new. We get new things. It's at least every week. Sometimes it's every 2 weeks, but she'll come in and everything will have been changed, and she'll look around and, oh my goodness, everything's different. And maybe her bringing a fresh eye in sometimes. She may not know how that jumpsuit's going to fit somebody, but she can look and, that eye of just, from a customer's perspective.
Right.
And I do pop-ups a lot in the community, and not just this community. I go a little bit of everywhere. So she will sometimes accompany me to those. It just depends what's going on. And that girl's fantastic with a budget. So a little bit of the behind the scenes as far as, numbers and business. And you were talking earlier with Jen from Brentwood, and I heard you say that that's not a lot of entrepreneurs like that part of the business. I actually love it all, but I do lean on her for just, along with that property management background, came, of course, working with huge budgets.
Right.
So that comes in handy with a small business. So it's great to have her to lean on and talk through things. And just that I'm so carefree and she's so type A that just having her to sometimes ground me, sometimes I need that, because I'm I'm out here okay, this is what we're going to do. And I have these really grandiose ideas. And then I'm like, can you help me? So, I'd say it's perfect teamwork in that way.
I was just going to say, you guys make such a great team in all aspects.
Yeah, in every way.
I don't know. Do you remember the first time I ever met you?
No, I don't.
That's okay. Because people ask me that, and I'm like, I have no idea how I met you.
Well, sometimes I do, but I don't.
But I remember first time I met you guys, it was at a networking event. And you were there, and your job was to be putting on makeup for people. And you were using Carole as your...
Okay, that was the first time.
As your person to put makeup.
Oh,
and
boy.
I had never met Carole before either. So it was the first time I was meeting both of them. And you were so serious, and you were explaining colors and this and that, which I was really interested, in listening. And Carole was like the comic relief, because every stroke of every brush, Carole was like, what are you doing now? Now what are you doing? Why are you doing that? That hurts. Don't do this. Yeah. And this one, she was, it was hilarious.
I always say she's the toddler I never had. I say that all the time.
Laurel and Hardy, these two. It was so much fun. And she gets done, and she puts the mirror up, and she was like, I look gorgeous. And she just starts going off, and she's walking around, and then she just starts gushing about her. And then it was really sweet. And she kept trying to talk, and Carole kept interrupting. And it was like, oh, there's something happening here.
Carole tried to talk more? What?
Yeah. Yeah. I know, right?
No.
But it was just the entertainment factor. So you were getting an education, and you were getting entertained. And I swear that's what the boutique is like. So when you come in here and the two of them are here, she knows everything about this, but the two of them together, it's entertaining. Jess and I come in here, and we're like, oh, we're going to have a good time. We know we're shopping, but we know it's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun.
Whether there's an event happening or not, they are the event.
Yeah.
It's not just a shopping experience. It's not just a little boutique. she's just phenomenal with what she does. Yeah. And Carole's here just to make sure that everybody's having a good time. And it's just great.
I think we're just real and authentic. Yeah. And I think that, that resonates with a lot of people, and puts them at ease too at the same time.
I love that about you, because you guys are such a special couple. And I've always told people, you're my favorite couple of all time, because you're real. You've never put anything out. You've never shied away from anything. You guys have shared everything, right? And you've been who you are. You are just a genuinely happy, loving couple. And I think that is so cool. It just resonates. You know what I mean? And all couples have the same problems. It doesn't matter if you're same sex, if you're it doesn't matter. Being in a relationship with another human being
absolutely
comes with a certain set of
you can't make that face. She's going to watch this.
No, she's good. That's part of our realness, though.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had our struggles, and
everybody does.
Yeah, we have. So, and honestly, I feel like I always say it's better on the other side for sure if you choose to be committed and work through whatever that might be. And, the world is a complex place right now. And so all that does is add complexity to relationships. So just taking that time to remember, it's always good to go back to basics, whether it's in work or your relationships. Right. And it's about the relationship. It's about communication. And it's just remembering why this human in your life was so special in the first place.
Sure.
And I just think that's important.
On my desktop of my computer, I literally have the 30-second clip of the highlights of my wedding from how many years ago when I get mad at my husband. I watch that because I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that. And I watch that and I'm like, okay, all right. That's why I
might not have to go sleep outside tonight.
But you're right. You go back to why do I love
why remember why you started. I mean, that's just in everything. I mean, we've done several shows over the last year or so. We've been doing this around diversity and belonging and inclusion and things like that. That's something that's very important to me personally and to all of us. And we're in 2023. And we still have these stigmas that we can't get past, right? I'm old enough to remember when, a marriage like yours and Carole's wasn't a thing that was discussed publicly. It may have happened, just like Joel and Max, my dear friends. I mean, I love these guys, and it's just so normal and natural, but we still have that issue. And, to me, love is love. Right. And that's the way I feel in my heart. And I just, you guys have always made me proud because you've embodied that.
Well, it's kind of crazy, too, if you think back that gay marriage wasn't even really legalized nationwide until 2015. Right. That was not that long ago. But I think that you have to remember, you may not agree with everybody's beliefs or the way that they're carrying themselves in a relationship, but I think just it's okay too to say, I don't understand your relationship, but I love you as a person,
right? And
I want to learn more, and I just think we need to do more of that with each other.
I agree. And how does your happiness negatively impact anybody's life, right? So if Terry and I are happy, it's going to benefit the three of you because I'm going to show up and I'm in a good mood and I'm happy.
You're going to be fully present.
You're going to be fully present. It's no different than Joel and Max, than you and Carol, than you and David. It's all the same. Love is love. If two people come together, they find each other. You find that other half of your soul, right? I'm not a big soulmate guy, but I believe there is a twin flame or a twin soul for everybody, right? I believe that stuff. And listen, my guy friends are laughing right now. They're watching this. They're laughing hysterical.
We're meant to have a mate, though. I mean,
Yes.
There are some people who can say, oh, I'd rather be alone. I don't want to have to answer to anybody. And if I want to drink beer on the couch with my underwear on, nobody's going to say a word. But
well, that's the thing, right?
We're designed to have a mate. But that is okay.
Beer in the underwear. I mean, that's
I'm
all right.
actually here for that. Yeah, I'm not going to lie.
You guys do that? Seriously?
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Is there any chance you might take pictures when you do it? No,
that's a different show.
Oh, it is a different show. Okay,
yeah,
I'm sorry. That is a different show.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah, that's after a while. After a while. I'm sorry. But no, it's true. It's very true.
Yeah. It's fine. Yeah, I mean, we're dirty ladies. I don't know.
I
I feel like women are worse.
was to say, did you tell them about our? Never mind.
Yeah,
So go ahead.
there was that other thing.
I know.
But just go talk amongst yourselves. That's okay.
We
just hang out
usually
here with
do.
me. But relationships are important. I mean, they fascinate me because everything in life is about a relationship with another human being, whether it's personal, whether it's a love relationship, or if it's a business relationship.
Absolutely.
Every transaction is relationship based.
I always say it's not just about the sales. It's like I used to say to my management teams, if you chose to be a manager just for the glory, you're in it for the wrong reason.
Right.
It's not just about any of that. It's truly about the people around you and, helping them grow, helping them, achieve whatever their next greatness is. So for me, it's really truly not even a sales thing. It is
I agree.
helping my community.
Let me ask both of you this. Let's just say that we're in a salon situation, okay? And you need a stylist, all right? And you have a young lady walks in and she's just a kick-ass stylist. She's great. She's right? But she's kind of like no personality, kind of aloof, And then you have this kid come in and she's just a sweetheart. She's bubbly. She's outgoing. She's got the right attitude. She's in there for the right reason. She wants to take care of people. But her skill is not that great. Who do you hire?
I'd have to do a little bit more research because it's that judgment thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, you may have to find out. It's really about finding out what makes that person tick.
Mm-hmm.
And, not every situation is going to bring out the best in everyone. So that's a really great way to overlook a good person, is just to make that snap judgment. Well, look at that person must be really talented. Boy, look at that confidence. And that one's quiet. There's usually a reason. Mm-hmm. And I think when you get to the bottom of it and ask the right questions and connect with them, that's a better way to go about it.
Absolutely. I had a mentor of mine told me that if you have to choose between talent and attitude, okay, skill and attitude, always choose attitude because you can teach
the skill. Absolutely. You can always teach the skill.
Yeah. So, I just think it's a different way of kind of looking at things, but it's all based on drilling down below the skin, right?
The surface.
Get under the skin and kind of see what makes people tick.
You ever heard the quote, "You can't teach class"?
Yeah, true. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Some people their attitude
mm-hmm.
will always be the same attitude.
It's very true.
Some people just don't want to get along.
Mm-hmm.
And some people want to get along with everybody. And
no, that's a very true statement. And it's very underestimated in business, right? Because we look for that certain degree. We look for that certain skill set. In the engineering business, I've been in it for 40 years. I've been successful. I'm not an engineer, but it's because I am good with people. I talk to people. I write well. So I've been able to carve out a career in a very highly technical field as a very non-technical person, So if it wasn't for somebody taking a chance, digging a little deeper and finding out what makes me tick and who I am and all of this other stuff, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing because on paper, I'm not as good as those guys, right? But when you bring all the other stuff into it, then the scale balances out.
I saw a meme not that long ago. It was like maybe last week actually, and it had a guy that said, he had a degree, like it was written like funny on his shirt, and he was holding a carrot, and he was like a proud peacock. And then there was a little guy next to him that had a sort of forlorn look and was holding the top of a carrot still on the ground, but underground this carrot was huge. It was the skills.
Yes.
It was all the skills that the people couldn't see necessarily without asking questions. And I think that's something also that's changing in business is, of course, I'm not downplaying having a degree in any way.
No,
that's a major accomplishment.
I was raised by a teacher. Education's a big deal.
But I think that, being, a lot of people are kind of like being a little bit, giving more leeway to people who have experience or perhaps they, have a skill that they've mastered.
Sure.
over, oh, gotta always go with that college degree.
Well, that door used to be closed for a lot of people. It was like, do you have a college degree? If you don't, keep walking. Well, now I mean, they call it what, that paper ceiling. You know,
And there's still a lot of there's a lot of careers out there that you still have to have that degree, and they're
Absolutely.
But
well, I want
think-
my doctor to have a degree.
Yeah,
you know, I want if I'm going to have surgery, I want my doctor to
Maybe
have
a good idea.
You know,
Yeah.
a lot.
And
of
you know what about
education.
that? I don't care about bedside manner either. I want my surgeon to be the most arrogant dude on earth. I want him to think that he's the best, absolutely, that there is, and be confident in that. But getting back to that, as an entrepreneur and what you've done, we touched on. You went in the Army right out of high school. You worked hard and invested in something that you loved. You are a shining example of, that degree is important, but if that's not who you are, okay, if you're willing to do this, you can get here, right? And that's to is. We talked a little bit about what would your message to a young woman be, like maybe that kid coming out of high school, or that 20-something that that doesn't really know what she wants to do yet. What is your message? Because your life, your career arc is a pretty powerful message. So what would you say?
I think first I would say to stop and not be so critical of yourself, and it's okay to not know right at that moment, or you know what, you might think but it's okay to also change your mind a year or two from now. And I think that also speaks to the complexity of the world that I mentioned. Everything's always just moving so fast, and I think that societal norms and like the demands on young people, it's just you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do this, and you're supposed to do that. And I think that listening to your inner voice, even as a young person, find somebody that you trust to be your mentor. And it's okay not to know. Find a mentor and be patient with yourself. And when you feel that feeling like deep inside, I always say that is your passion. That is your inside voice is there to protect you. And if you listen to yourself, like, we're not here to live life, your parents have raised you. Their job is kind of done, right? You're not living your life for your boyfriend, hopefully. Even your dog,
Sure.
we're here to make the best of ourselves. We're all given special gifts, and you listen to that and nurture your own gift, and give that back. You will know you're doing the right thing.
Right. Right. And I think it's important for young people to know that if you see that person, okay, if you want to get into the beauty industry and you see Becca Carl and she's doing all these really cool things and she's got this cool boutique, even though Becca is completely open to mentoring and you're approachable, don't hesitate to reach out, because you're not looking this way, right? You're doing your thing. So if a young person comes to you and says, listen, I love what you're doing, I want to go down this direction, will you help me? You're going to be open to that. You say, absolutely. But you're not looking for that young person to do that with. They need to approach you.
Yeah, I think it is really important for younger people now to take a look around and see who kind of like fits and resonates, and don't hesitate to ask questions. I've done it. I have had some amazing mentors, and honestly, just having like that strong, and nothing against men, I don't mean it this way, but the strong community, like get your tribe of women.
We've talked about that. Women do it right. Women do it better.
Yeah, there's just something. There's something about just having like that. And Kelly, I mean, look at your posse, right? And it just feels so powerful to know that we can be there to lift each other up. And if you look back in through the ages, women were trained, internally to be competitive. We were competing for food and shelter, and, we were the nurturers and a lot of times the gatherers. And so I think that, in evolving, you can put it to the test, put it to use now, is we don't need to be competing. We are there to lift each other up and mentor or just support. Like I said to 2 small business owners last week at an event, like I'd be willing to come and help once a month if you were drowning in, work, because I know what it feels like.
Right.
And I want to be there I'll be there for whatever. I don't care what it is. You want me to pack boxes? Do you just need me to bring you lunch? I just think having that support system and not being afraid when a group or a person resonates with you and you feel that energy and that connection, just reach out and grab it. Don't
I say
wait.
that all the time. Life is so much sweeter when you're getting along with everybody.
Absolutely.
And I hashtag it all the time, collaborate, don't compete. You know,
Yes.
when I first started Peel, I went around to all the leadership of the other female organizations and said, listen, this is what I want to do. I just wanted to come to you and talk to you about it, and let them know and just discuss it with them, so they didn't feel like I was invading any spaces. And they all really appreciated that. And I said, how can we work together? I would rather work together with you, collaborate, do events, however. And it was great.
I used to do an exercise, like when I would do, whether I'd be, having a meeting or I had a group of people ask me to do a little bit of like a leadership training for them. And I had this exercise that I learned a long time ago, and you're all in a circle and you all hold hands. And I tell you, in your left hand, think of something that you are amazing at. Without a doubt, you got this mastered, right? So you got that. But then in your right hand, I want you to put something that you struggle with. You're terrible. And you just, put that there. So if you think about, my strength is going to cover Kelly's weakness, and you go around the circle that way, it just... we should all be working together.
Absolutely. Women are the reason that we're here, right? Women created humanity. I mean, and you look at all over the world, women lead. You lead in the family. You lead, women you are the nurturers, but you're also warriors at the same time. Like being in the water industry. And one of the most powerful images that I've ever seen is in most of Africa, the African countries and into Asia and other places, in developing countries, women are responsible for, water's very scarce, right? Nearly 1 billion people on planet Earth do not have access to clean water. Women, a sister, a mother, a grandmother, will have to walk 4
miles, yes,
with 3-gallon bucket, fill it with water at, if they're lucky, a well, otherwise just dipping it in a river or a lake and carrying it back for the family. Even if there's a husband, if there's a male, doesn't matter. It's the woman's job to do that, to literally sustain the family. And when you think about, and I would love to ask that question at one of your ladies' luncheons. Here's a 3-gallon bucket of water. Okay, how many of you will pick this up and carry it 4 miles after you've already walked 4 miles just to fill it up?
Just to get there.
But more women will raise their hand for that than men every single time.
But there's a place for both, and honestly, I think that everybody has something to offer, and I just think whether it's, guys typically have that like analytical, like one thing at a time brain, typically. And I don't know, maybe even right now, I mean, I have a bad back, so maybe I need help getting my heat press out. I might be like, hey, Nick, before you guys leave, can you grab that for me? Like, I'm not afraid to ask for help, or I'm not afraid to maybe get your idea on a portion of my business that maybe I've been struggling with, because you know what? You might have a different idea and something I just didn't see or I overlooked.
I have a different lens than you.
Right.
Right. And that helps everybody become better. When we collaborate, when we engage with each other, we all become better for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
So just real quick with the Peel Posse thing, are you in the Peel Posse?
So,
because here's why I asked this. I don't get to join. I just carry their stuff. So, I mean, did they let you in?
So here's the deal. So Carole's a member, and
Carol's a partner.
okay,
See.
so right, so and I have to tell you, I was at one luncheon, and here's the thing. Let me just also throw this in there. I wish I could come to a lot more, and I did actually make that commitment because it is inspiring.
It truly is.
And just being in that network, in that community. And I was lucky enough, I got to speak on entrepreneurship on July 3rd at that luncheon, and just to be surrounded with 3 other entrepreneurs that also just rock stars in their own right. And it just does make you feel like, okay, so some of my battles, they're also having these battles, and it just makes you feel a little bit better. Because I'd say, if you ask me, mostly everything is pretty great. Carole, on the other hand, she's the worrywart. She'll probably be like, oh, God, got to reel her back in. But, there are things that, you stress about. So to not feel alone, and it is wonderful to be in that partnership with those people.
Have you arrived? Are you here? Or are you?
I feel like I'm coming into my own.
Okay.
And
you get what I'm saying?
Yes. Here's the thing. I never stop learning.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, with, my 40s came a lot more knowledge, and, just realizing it is okay to just totally be me. And I think, like I say, just having the creative outlet, and of course I get to employ, everything I've learned in business from my previous mentors and previous positions, of course. But it's that creativity, and, I'm custom distressing flannels. I'm making custom distressing hats and designing hats. I make jewelry, and it just is such an amazing outlet.
That's awesome.
And I'm going to answer that question. Yes, she's part of the PO Posse. Absolutely, yes.
Oh,
So that's more
Absolutely.
stuff I have to carry.
I mean, maybe. I did
you
talk
pack
about.
light, please? Would you just
I'm
pack
not.
light?
I'm gonna be straight up with you. I don't pack light anywhere.
Yeah, see, me either.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
It's
I mean,
rough.
I do have
It's difficult.
I do have the packing for the boutique sorted down to a science, but there's a lot. Eat your Wheaties.
Jess
Okay.
makes fun of me how I pack. I'm like, is what it is.
Well, yes, there is that. Sherry and I will go away for a long weekend, and I'll have a duffel bag, and she'll have 2 suitcases and a backpack. And we're going to the same place for the same amount of time.
I'm like, he always asks me, "Oh, we're
One
going away
whole
for 2
bag for me
days."
is product. I can't
Listen,
help it, and I'm just as comfortable actually with no makeup.
Oh yeah,
I really am. And
but you need to have options just in case.
I just love
Okay.
love it all.
how
love
long does
the
it
whole
take
process.
you in the morning to do your hair?
Oh.
I love it, by the way. I think
Actually,
I love
let's just say my whole get ready process is probably 2 hours, and that's because there's coffee, there's TV,
there's a lot of things
music,
involved.
There's
there's
distractions.
there could be a podcast.
Could be anything.
I have to stop and have a snack. I mean,
So
I'm
it's
just
a
being real.
leisurely.
There's makeup.
It takes so long, you need a snack. That's interesting.
She gets weak. She gets weak.
Okay, well, this has been so cool. Thank you so much for sitting down and talking with us. So this is where we like to ask our guests for what's a parting thought. What do you want? What's your desired takeaway for our 7 viewers to take away from this conversation?
It would be 8 now.
We could be 8. But I get a check.
Yeah.
It could
I don't
be
know.
8.
It might be 9. I don't know. Believe in yourself, and if you don't, find the next nearest group of women who believe in you, and just keep looking forward. And I'm always here if somebody needs that helping hand.
Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so
You're
much.
fantastic.
This was wonderful.
Oh, it was
Thank you
amazing.
for having us
Yes.
here all day.
Yeah.
This was fantastic.
Absolutely.
I love your place. And good luck with this. This is great. You're
Thank
doing
you.
some really cool stuff.
Thank you.
You and Miss Carole, of course.
Yes.